AMC Stock, ladies and gentlemen, got some great news here today. AMC is up over 9% today. What a move from the bottom. You are now above some of your important moving averages, and we have the latest to get into here in this video. So I hope you are ready. If you are not, you better get ready because we are getting straight into it. So, as we said over the weekend, this week looked especially kind of vulnerable to seeing an upside move. An upside move looked likely because this week is the end of fiscal year 2023. So you got to ask yourself, what's the most logical thing hedge funds and institutions are going to want to do with their position? Are they going to want to continue to be short in AMC in 2024, considering AMC has fallen 99% from the highs? Or does it make sense to cover on short positions? If you don't cover on your short positions, add some upside exposure, or does it just outright make a lot of sense to go long in AMC? I would argue any one of those three things makes sense, but shorting AMC more at the bottom does not make sense. So we were vulnerable to seeing that upside move, which that vulnerability obviously is good for you and me because the risk to reward looked very much skewed towards an upside move. In fact, we did get news today. Now, Adam Aaron went on Twitter to say, quote, "An announced deal ends the 5-month-long writer's strike, pending an affirmative union member vote. Directors and writers' contracts now behind us. Only the Screen Actors Guild is left to go. The world's movie theaters can celebrate. Extremely good news that progress is being made." So this was seen by 150,000 individuals. This is seen as very good news for AMC. And you're seeing all basically movie theater and studios trading higher on this because essentially with the strike, nobody wins. The writers, actors, they aren't really getting paid. The studios aren't making movies, so they're not going to get paid, and it delays their future revenue, right? And this was one of the big concerns that you could have had for AMC stock, that maybe 2024, especially towards the second half of 2024, even into 2025, so more of a midterm, longer-term problem, you might not see that many movies. Well, movies going to theaters. So that does not look like a concern anymore. Obviously, when you strike for 5 months, there's going to be some kind of damage. But if the strike were to have lasted longer, it would have been even worse. Now, what this article says from BBC.com, it says, screenwriters in the U.S. say they have reached a tentative deal with studio bosses that could see them end a strike that has lasted nearly 5 months. The Writers Guild of America said it was exceptional, with meaningful gains and protections for writers. WGA members must still have a final say. Hollywood writers are striking in a row over pay and the use of artificial intelligence in the industry. Stranger Things and The Last of Us are among the shows which have been paused. So, specifically not great for some in specific studios, but it was affecting everything. It caused Dune to be delayed, which was supposed to be kind of filling in some of the gaps that we have seen previously, right? That we've kind of seen right now. You're just not getting that many big films that are now going to theaters. That's why the Taylor Swift film is also going to be maybe a really big deal for AMC. Now, Adam Aaron also did go to Twitter to share this video of Taylor Swift at the Chiefs game, and he says, "No one has greater respect and appreciation for Taylor Swift than all of us at AMC Entertainment. Her concert film of the Eras Tour opens October 13th, is shattering our all-time records. AMC headquarters in Kansas City since 1920, so Taylor, welcome to the Chiefs Kingdom." So, yeah, pretty cool. We'll ultimately see how well that film does. It's probably going to do pretty good. Now, this news is really sending AMC stock higher, and I think this is good news that we really needed to see, okay? This has been a big dragging factor on AMC. Now that the court proceeding is over with, now that that is out of the way, AMC stock can now move a lot more on good or bad news. That's the reality of it. When the court proceeding was going on, when you're facing potential dilution for the last almost year now, it's been very hard for AMC to react positively on positive news. Sure, that negative news has had a negative impact to AMC, but the positive news really hasn't done anything. We've seen AMC turn a profit, and that did virtually nothing for AMC. If you see any other stock in the markets turn a profit that was unprofitable, that has been unprofitable for multi-years, well, that tends to cause 20-30% move to the upside on that earnings report. You did not see that with AMC the last time AMC reported earnings. Sure, you've seen a little move higher after subsequently falling like 36% the day, like 2 days, 3 days after earnings. The day after earnings, you were up 1.62%. It's like the markets didn't even care. AMC finally turned a profit. I think that is over. I think those days are over for AMC. Now, if you even consider the average analyst price target on AMC stock, which analysts don't tend to be very kind of giving for AMC's price targets and valuations, the price target from analysts, 3 of them have a sell, 4 of them have a hold, and 2 of them have a buy. Average analyst price target of $18.78, a return potential of 147%. You just can't make this up. It makes a lot of sense to be long in AMC, and I do think you will start to see more hedge funds, institutions taking on bullish bets. As we have went over in the 13F filings, you have seen many hedge funds, institutions, even large banks recently. Shout out to Canada. A lot of Canadian banks have bought the dip like crazy in AMC, but even guys like Citadel, Sequoia, Jane Street, we've went over them, some of the largest firms that manage money out there, billions and billions of dollars of assets under management, they are also going net long on AMC stock. It's been a very long time since you have seen Citadel net long in AMC. As much as we don't like Citadel, they do some shady, shady stuff over there. They're long in AMC. I think it kind of speaks for itself. So right now, point in being, your risk to reward looks very good for AMC. The odds that you make money from here, even after today's 10% gain, looks really, really good compared to losing money if you look out the next 3-6 months. Now, you never know what's going to happen in the markets, right? We could go into a recession. Things could get bad quickly. Usually recessions do happen pretty fast. Once you start to get a downturn, if you're going into a recession, it tends to happen pretty quickly, right? You don't tend to see like a year delay besides kind of 2022 and spending that really kicked in from the consumer. But some of the economic data we're going to get for this week is also going to be very important. So at 8:30 in the morning on Wednesday, you are going to get durable goods orders month over month. That's expected at negative 1.4%. Last month was negative 5.6%. That was or 5.2%. That was a huge drop. Now on Thursday, you are going to get GDP growth rate, the final estimate for Q2. You're actually expecting 2.2% GDP. The last number was 2% GDP. You're also going to get initial jobless claims. And then on Friday, you are going to get some very important data, which is personal spending month over month, personal income month over month, and core PCE price index month over month. Now, personal spending, I think, is very important to me. If you see a big drop in personal spending, that is going to affect your GDP estimates. GDP estimates, considering the economy, is based like 70% of GDP is based on the consumer and the consumer spending money. I mean, the GDP estimate is 3%. Like, that's insane because people have been spending a lot of money. The spending data has came in good. Retail sales have came in pretty good. If you start to see a sharp slowdown there, that's not going to be great for GDP estimates. GDP comes out October 26th. So there is still about a month left, a month and 1 day specifically, that if you get any negative data, it will affect the GDP estimates for Q2. Or for Q3, and then, we're about to head into Q4, so any kind of forward-looking data is going to affect those estimates as well. I personally think Q4 GDP could be negative, Q1 GDP could be negative. We could be in a recession, or at least know that we're in a recession, by April of next year. That's kind of what I'm starting to think. Who knows if I'm right on that, but it's kind of what it's looking like. So there you have that. Let's run through some of the data here with AMC. Oh, I should also point out a very important event is going to be Fed Jerome Powell. He will be speaking. Let's go ahead and confirm this. He will be speaking Thursday at 4 p.m. This is a kind of conference where there's going to be prepared remarks and a speech he gives, and then there's going to be questions from people that are actually there as well as virtual. So see if he walks back some of the comments he made at the last kind of FOMC press conference. I think that could be very important, and we're pretty close to getting rate cuts here. We're going to go over some of that data here in the next video that's coming out later today. You could be looking at emergency rate cuts a lot quicker than a lot of you guys think. That would probably mean markets would crash, because, hey, how's the Fed that wrong? If they do give us emergency rate cuts, then something broke or something is about to break. So we'll talk about that more in the next video. Highly recommend you guys stay tuned for that. Probably coming out around 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Now let's get into some of the data here with AMC. You have a short interest off free float of 12.82%. 25.36 million shares that are currently sold short. You do have cost to borrow fees in the range of 3% to as high as 6%. I do expect cost to borrow fees likely going to rise after today's move, given, again, if you've lost 99% if you bought at the top, why would you not lend out your shares for 6%? AMC has basically done nothing but go down. So when you get that upside volatility, it does have a huge effect on your cost to borrow fees. Now, if you take a look at the official short interest reports, last we knew the amount of shares sold short is now at the highest point it has ever been at. It increased 36% since the middle of August at 23.21 million shares sold short. You're likely closer to about 30 million shares now. This data did just basically incorporate a move to about $13 per share. So that move from $13 per share to $7 per share, you're likely seeing a lot of shorts taking out short positions as well. So there is that. If we do go ahead and take a look at the AMC FTD numbers, go ahead and give this one a go. Today is September 25th. That means you have about 25 million FTDs, potentially as many as 25 million FTDs that do need to be closed out of. Tomorrow, 36.5 million. On Wednesday, about 51 million FTDs, and then you fall off. So it looks like some FTDs were closed out, but any FTDs that were not closed out need to be closed out here really by Wednesday. So millions of FTDs, potentially. You never really know exactly how many, because I mean that's just not information that we have available, but I would imagine still quite a bit of FTDs that need to be closed out. Now, something very particular is this week you're actually seeing more call activity by about a 2-to-1 ratio compared to puts. Calls out the money at 82,000, puts out the money of 44,000. It's been a very long time since you have seen double the amount of calls compared to puts. Calls in the money 15,000, puts in the money 10,000. Yeah, that's like unheard of. That's like unheard of to have more call activity on any given week than put activity. It looks like maybe someone is trying to trade an upside move, if I were to imagine, and potentially that is a kind of precursor for what is to come. Now, AMC stock, as far as the technicals, is now above your 8-day moving average. That is really the first level you need to break out above. Like I said in the last video, if you get above $10 per share, that's where we could pretty quickly rise to about 13 or 14 in my personal opinion. Today is a good start, but we definitely have a lot of work to do. You've basically been sideways for the last 2 trading weeks now, so nothing too crazy to actually speak of here. Now, if you look at the MACD, looking very bullish, taking a turn to the upside. Yellow line above the blue line, that's exactly what you want to see. The RSI is about to go into a more normal range. RSI is at 29.85, so odds are at some point today, if we continue to hold this gain, then you probably do see the RSI go above 30, and that could trigger more algorithmic buying as well. Anytime AMC stock has been oversold, and oversold for this long, especially, and then goes positive, you tend to see quite the rally in AMC, like hundreds of percent of a rally. So that's really going to do it for this video. That's everything you need to know in a nutshell. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.